Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on creating life and safety plans using the Fire Rating tool. So today's demonstration is going to be on utilizing CTC's Fire Rating tool to create your life and safety plans and seeing how we could use that within your current projects. So my name is Patrick Simic. I'm a technical consultant at SolidCAD. I am on the AEC team. Work with many different types of disciplines from architecture to MEP to structure. And today we're going to be looking at using the Fire Rating tool on the architectural side to create the visual graphics that we want to have within our deliverables. So today's learning objectives are going to be how to access the Fire Rating tool within the Revit environment, overview of the interface, so different properties and settings that we could utilize as we use the tool. How can we map existing Revit line styles and or wall tags to Fire Rating properties? And also, once there are modifications to our model, how can we generate or update any of those Fire Rating graphics? Also, this video will be recorded, so anyone that has missed it, or if you want to kind of review it, it will be available on our SolidCAD YouTube page. So with that said, let's already jump into the demo. With our project that we have over here, I'm just going to go into one of my floor plan views. As we could see inside of my views, I have a few different floor plans. We have some working views, we have some general views. So typically how we would be creating our life and safety plans is duplicating an existing view. So I'm just going to take one of my, if I just double click into my general floor plan as we see here, I can take this view that I have, right click, duplicate it, no detailing needed, selecting the view and renaming it 01 life and safety plan. And we could also apply a view template. So as we can see, I'm starting to kind of structure my view as we have. So when we are creating a life and safety plan, if we want to add some Fire Rating features to our walls. So as we do select the wall inside of the view, selecting the wall from here, there is an initial Fire Rating parameter that is stored within the wall type properties. So I select the wall, edit type. Here we'll start to see a Fire Rating function, and we can see there is a 1 hour value. So typically to create our Fire Rating plans, one of the ways we could use is a filter. So if I were to go into the filters of my view here, let me just modify this for 1 second. So I'm going to come here, add a filter, and as we could do is create a new filter, specifically say for 1 hour Fire Rating walls. Going to my walls tool, looking for what I want to use, Fire Rating, and if it equals to 1 hour. So we can do that for our walls and start adding it to our views. I could click into here. I could override now the cut patterns. Let it be, I'll just do a solid fill and a color red. So quickly, with just a few filters, we could start to see, I could start to graphically show our Fire Rating values. But one thing we'll notice here is first we have a solid fill color. You could use different patterns, but as you start getting into angles, and if you start utilizing those options, it's a little bit difficult to get the patterns to properly show within the walls themselves. And another feature is if we look inside of the door, we can see that the door does not actually have a Fire Rating line going through it. It kind of cuts off at the opening. So as I typically would want is actually a line going through, maybe a customized line, and also possibly some kind of tagging onto that to kind of show a little bit more of my Fire Rating graphics. So filter would just be kind of out of the box Revit workflows. Now we're going to jump into kind of using the Fire Rating tool. But another tool just to kind of quickly we could use from CTC, if I just go back to the general, I'm going to remove that old Fire Rating plan that I have. You do have View Creator from CTC, which will quickly allow you to create multiple view types instead of kind of duplicating one by one as we just previously had. So I'm just going to click what floors or what views I want to create my life and safety plans for. Select my view template, going to have it as new construction. As I select add, we could already see it kind of building up the naming convention with the levels I want it for, the view template that's applied. When I click create views, quickly created my 3 life and safety plan views that have now been properly organized inside of the project browser. So that was a quick way of using the view creator tool, again, to speed up the process of creating different views inside of your project. So now to the fire rating tool. Where this is found in the CTC BIM project suite. So CTC does have different suites available for you to use, but the one we're going to be looking at is going to be the one on the right side I have here, BIM project suite, the green icons. And we should see now we have the fire rating tool. So with this fire rating tool, as I fire it up, we're going to start to see the interface of the fire rating tool. So you do have some options. We have 3 different tabs at the top: fire ratings, mappings, and graphics. So from this fire ratings tab, we're going to see all of the walls that we have within our project. What is the family name, the type of wall, basic wall, current wall, the type name. So here we can see we have an interior 1-hour partition. We have another interior 2-hour partition. We have generic concrete floors. We have parapets, and so on. From this interface here, what we can do is on the right, you'll see the count of walls that we have, but also the fire rating. So if you have not initially input some fire rating to your actual wall, or if somebody accidentally inputted the fire rating to a wall, as we can see here, my generic 225 millimeter concrete wall has a fire rating of 2 hours. What we could do is we could update or remove this value. So as we click inside of this field, I can always remove a fire rating that is set to a wall. If you do want to update that, you can do the same thing just by inputting data. Or if you want a new wall type, you do have a duplicate wall type and then append those fire ratings to that new type name. So you do have some functionality inside of the tool to kind of input data directly to the wall types that you have inside of your project. So all I'm just doing here is just removing that fire rating from that wall type. Again, you could input that information to that fire rating option. With a couple different options here, again, show all types, select all, you could do multiple walls at a time. If you do have a custom parameter that you are using for your fire rating, you can also select that and create a parameter or input that value to be used within the tool itself. You do have some additional options for graphically how things get updated. So as I click options, here we can start to see some values that are going to start changing our graphics as we start updating them and utilizing this tool. Moving down the line, so we do have our fire ratings here on the left side. Now we got mappings. So as we go to mappings, I did use my fire rating parameter. I have a 1-hour fire rating wall, 2-hour, and then we can see there's a no rating here. Couple options that we can input now to the actual fire rated wall. As I place in the wall, I'm going to use a line style as a graphic to indicate the fire rating. So where I see 1-hour fire rating wall, I'm going to look at a line style. I have already created a customized line style for my fire ratings. So with the dropdown, here we'll start to see all of the different firewall rating line styles that I have ready to be used. I'm going to select my 1-hour for the 1-hour fire rating option. For my 2-hour, I'm going to select the 2-hour option there too. As we start inputting now kind of the graphics or the mappings that we want for the fire rating, you also have the ability to add a detail component onto the walls that have the fire ratings or a wall tag. Inside of the wall tag, I'm actually going to place in one of the families. So I do have a specific one for my fire ratings. I'm going to click from the drop down to select the wall tag that I want to use as I start generating the graphics in my view. Once we properly map out our settings here, I'm going to go now to the last tab here, graphics. So here will now be what we want to kind of generate or to modify within our project. So on the left side, we see all the different views inside of our project. I'm going to click the life and safety plan that I have open right now. One of the things with the CTC tool here, fire rating, is we still have the ability to kind of move our screen away and utilize Revit in the background. So as I update the graphics, we'll start to see the changes. Then I can kind of zoom in, zoom out, just make sure everything is properly being adjusted or placed as needed. So within our screen here, we have what views do we want those graphics to be applied to. And on the right side, we have wall tags. So I am putting in a wall tag. So I'm going to select generate, update, or remove any kind of wall tags that are there. You can specify a spacing. So how far apart Do you want a tag to be placed directly onto that wall and its distance? So again, we could, I'm going to leave it as, maybe I'll change it to 5 feet for now, just to have a little bit more inputted values. And then there is a minimum end spacing. So at the end of a wall, how far you want that last tag to be kind of offset from that option. So in this case, so it doesn't go right to the end of the wall, I'm going to have it as an offset of 2. Once we have those set, I'm going to click Generate Graphics. Give it a few seconds here. I'm going to close out of my Fire Rating tool, and now we can see some graphics being generated. As I zoom in, I'm going to start zooming into here. Here we can start to see I have now a line style along with a tag that has been applied to the wall. So what the Fire Rating tool is doing is just taking a detail line and applying it to our wall, and then kind of following the length of the wall itself. Along with the detail line that I've been placed, we also have, as we see here, the tags. So I did have a very tight spacing, 5 feet. So we can start to see the tags being placed. What's nice about the tags is you can have the ability to select them. You could delete them where they are not needed. So again, adjusting graphically how you want things to see. I could always remove the tag, or if it's in somewhere of a location you don't want it, remember, we could also move tags around. So here we can start to see now the updated Fire Rating tools and graphics to our walls as we start using the tools. Again, a little bit of a cleanup here. We got a little bit of cluster of our different tags. If there is an update to our model, so maybe someone goes into the working plan view, double click into here. I could take this wall, maybe I'll move it up a little bit here. I'll take this wall, move it to the side. I will even take, maybe we'll get rid of a room. Try this here. Might get some room errors, but that is fine. Getting rid of that, and let's just move that door over. So as we are updating the model, or as we're working during the project, walls start to move. Our life and safety plans, we'll start to see, if I go back to that view, you start to see some discrepancies based off of the changes. So the detail lines, they are not attached to the walls. They do not move with them. The tags do still stay, since they are hosted to the wall. They are tagging the actual wall itself, but the detail lines, they are not being updated. So as changes do happen, and we do want now to update our life and safety plans, I'm going to go back to the Fire Rating tool. Back to my CTC software tab, selecting Fire Rating. Looking at, again, the mapping our fire ratings that we have for our walls. We have our mapping features, the 2 different types of line styles, the different wall tags that we're using, and now to the graphics. So within the graphics, I could come into here and we have some spacing. Maybe I'll change that spacing to be a little bit further. As we had the walls moved, I'm going to move this down a little bit here. I'm going to click Update Graphics. As I click Update Graphics with a few seconds and a click, you'll see now my graphics have been updated. Since the walls moved, now all those detail lines that were attached or that were previously aligned with the walls, they now are updated to that new location. My tags that I initially had before, you'll see now the spacing is a lot larger of a space that we had. If I go back to my other location here, we'll see the same thing happening throughout the walls themselves. So with this tool, you can quickly see that we could generate our Fire Rating graphics of our life and safety plans to align with our walls. We could use any kind of customized line style that we want. So again, any line style, any pattern, line weight, or color that you want to use, that could be embedded as a line style for the Fire Rating tool. You can use any tag to be placed onto your walls. As we can see, we do have the wall tag features. Again, the spacing that we would like to use, how far from the end of the wall that they are utilizing with. Do have different kind of features and options that you can kind of input that data to that specific function, or so to that specific wall itself. If you are having linked models into your project, there is also a location here in the graphics, walls in linked projects. You could also, if they do have fire ratings initiated to the parameter that you're using, you could then initialize the mapping tool and the graphics, and then it would apply the detail lines and the tags to that linked model within your project itself. So again, not only your project can be graphically updated, but also any kind of linked model that you are working with. Another nice feature with this tool is as you are working, I do have other life and safety plans in my project. Instead of going one by one and adding those graphics from my fire rating tool, I could come into and select now which views do I want to update the graphics for. Now I have all my life and safety, say, plan views selected over here. Once we have them selected, I'm going to click Generate Graphics, giving it a few seconds to run through the different views and update those values. Just going to give it a few seconds here to update. So as we are just waiting for the tool to run the process, so starting with just even creating the views that I had for the life and safety plans, I used a CTC tool, View Creator, which quickly created a view for my level 1, 2, and 3 levels inside of my project, gave them a proper view template, gave it a proper naming convention. Once those were created, went into my fire rating tool, set my fire ratings, make sure everything was properly assigned, went to my mapping values, had a line style, a wall tag mapped to those fire rating values. And final one was just running the graphics tool for those specific views. So as we have now the tool selected or closed, if I go now to my second floor plan and I zoom in, here we'll start to see also the fire ratings that have been applied to those specific walls. So with that, in conclusion, the fire rating tool allows for quick creation of graphics within your projects of your, say, life and safety plan views, running the fire rating tool and parameter that is embedded inside of the wall category. Or again, you could also use a custom parameter as needed if that's something you would like to use. You could apply fire rating graphics to multiple views at once. So it's not an individual view by view process. As you saw, I was able to batch kind of the process to multiple views inside of the project. Updating graphics is quick and easy with a click of a button. So as you are working your project, walls are moving, things are being deleted or modified. As you want to update your fire rating graphics, with the fire rating tool, you do have just update graphics or generate new ones as needed for the changes. Also, with the lines, you can customize any kind of line styles, tags, and detailed components for your fire rating appearances. So very customizable to graphically have it the way you want things to be shown. How to obtain the CTC tools? So you can go directly to the CTC software website. So as we have the website here on the right, and if you just jump into the website itself, underneath products, you'll start to see a drop-down list of the different suites. This fire rating tool is part of the BIM project suite. So that's where you'll find the fire rating tool there if you are looking for something to use. So in conclusion, once again, thank you everyone for attending the webinar. My name is Patrick Simic, technical consultant at SolidCAD on the AEC team. My email is there, patrick.simic@solidcad.ca. If you have any questions about the CTC fire rating tool itself, or gaining access or obtaining it, or even other tools that you may have questions about, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help out to get those answered. So right now I'm going to kind of keep it open for a Q&A. If there's any questions or comments from anyone that you would like to kind of have of the webinar itself. So again, you could use the chat or the Q&A option, and we can get any of those questions answered. Just going to go back, and there's my contact if you'll still like to reach out to me directly and get any additional questions down the road answered, or even just obtaining the tools. So it looks like we have no questions here on today's webinar. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today's webinar on Fire Rating tool from CTC. My name is Patrick Simek, technical consultant on the AEC team at SolidCAD, and hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.